We discuss about the various question, we can say models are there. In that we have discussed about the one of the important models, that is a profit prior to incorporation, and we started the study profit prior to incorporation. Same things we have to continue right now. Friends, we have to study profit prior to incorporation. It is one of the important chapter in our syllabus. Now we will discuss today in detailed manner. The chapter name is profit prior to incorporation. Profit prior to incorporation. It is one of the important chapter in our syllabus that we are going to learn today. Now, profit prior to incorporation means what? Now, what happened? Sometime any particular partnership form, such partnership form, if it is take over, purchase, acquired, or absorbed by any particular company, कंपनीने एका पार्टनरशिप फॉर्मला विकत घेतलं. If it is acquired by company, that time we will consider three dates. We will consider the three dates. First date we have to consider, that is date of takeover. कंपनीने पार्टनरशिप फॉर्मला कधी विकत घेतलं, that date we have to consider. Then second we have to consider the date of incorporation. ती जी कंपनी पार्टनरशिप फर्मला विकत घेते आणि त्यानंतर त्यांचं इनकॉर्पोरेशन होतं. इनकॉर्पोरेशन मीन्स रजिस्ट्रेशन. Those company who take over the business of the partnership firm and then they decided the incorporation, the date of incorporation or date of registration is one of the important date that we have to consider. Then one more date is there that we have discussed, that is year end, date of incorporation, and then after that we have to consider the year end date. These three dates are very important to find out various things. Whenever we have to find out the time ratio, we should know about the date of takeover of the business, date of incorporation, and year end. That basis we will find out easily. Suppose they are provided April month. April month is a date of takeover of the business. Then April is there, May, then after that June, July, August, September, then October, November, December, January, February, and March. Suppose date of takeover of the business, they are provided date of takeover of the business 1st April 2020, and they are provided date of registration also, that is 1st November 2020, and year end they are provided 31st March 2021. 31st March 2021. Date of takeover of the business, company take over the business of the partnership firm, they are provided 1st April. Then after takeover of the business, after the purchase of the business, company incorporated their business on 1st November 2020. And after that, they are provided the year end date also in our problem 31st March 2021. Now 1st April to 1st November, 1st April to 1st November. So how many months are there? 1st April to 1st November. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The total months, because 1st April we will not consider the 1st November month. The total months are 7 months. Total months are 7 months. What about the 1st November to 31st March? How many months are there? 1st November incorporated date is 1st November. So 1st November to 31st March. How many are there? How many months are there? So again, we have to calculate the months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here 5 months. How many months are there? 5 months. So this particular period is after incorporation period, and this particular period before incorporation period. This particular period is called as a before incorporation period. So this period is called as a pre-incorporation period, and this period is called as a post incorporation period. Pre-incorporation period 7 months, and post-incorporation period is 5 months. So we can say that whenever we will talk about the time ratio will be 7:5. Time ratio will be 7 is to 5. Time ratio, we can say that 7 is to 5. So these things you have to keep in mind how we will calculate the time ratio. It is very important to calculate time ratio. We should know about the how we will calculate the time ratio. Time ratio is 7 is to 5. After calculating the time ratio, we will allocate our expenses on time basis, time ratio basis, and some of the expenses we will allocate it on sales ratio basis. Sales ratio basis. So time ratio and sales ratio, these two things are very important. Now we aware about the profit and loss account. Profit and loss account debit side, we will record it indirect expenses, and profit and loss account credit side, we will show indirect incomes. All office and administrative expenses, all selling and distribution expenses are recorded profit and loss account debit side. Some incomes credit side we will record it, and expenses we are bifurcated on the basis of time ratio or sales ratio, and we will draw two rupees column. One rupee column we will write pre-incorporation period, another rupee column we will write post incorporation period. Means it means debit side expenses, two columns are there. Debit side, profit and loss account debit side, we will prepare expenses two columns: pre incorporation expenses and post incorporation expenses. Credit side, again two columns of incomes: pre incorporation incomes and post incorporation incomes. These things you have to keep in mind. We will record these things. Now we will move further. Now friends, some expenses are allocated on time ratio basis. Can you see this particular chart? Basis of allocation. Yes, can you see this chart? Okay, fine. Now, basis of allocation. We will discuss today how we will allocate expenses on the basis of time ratio, on the basis of sales ratio. Sometime they will ask the question, explain the basis of allocation of the expenses with examples, or write a short note on basis of allocation of expenses. Now, what kind of expenses we have to allocate on time basis? The all office and administrative expenses we have to allocate on time basis. For example, salaries, rent, taxes, rent, insurance, interest, repairs, establishment expenses, depreciation, audit fees, bank charges, electricity charges, telephone charges, printing and stationery, postage and telegrams, office expenses, management expenses, administrative expenses, general expenses, sundry expenses, fixed expenses, interest on purchase consideration, and these are the fixed expenses again repeated. These are the expenses we will allocate it on our profit and loss account debit side on time basis. It means time basis means time ratio we have to consider. Sales basis. Now sales ratio, when we will apply sales ratio? Sales ratio we will apply those items which are related to the sales. For example, gross profit, commission, discount, advertisement, bad debts, travelers expenses, carriage on sales, selling expenses, selling commission, delivery expenses, distribution expenses, packing expenses, free samples, variable expenses, after sales service cost, and sales promotion expenses. So these are the items which will allocate on the basis of sales ratio. You should know about the, we will allocate our expenses on the basis of time ratio and on the basis of sales ratio. Some of the items which are not allocated, it is purely pre-incorporation period item. For example, partners' salaries, vendors' salaries, and interest on partners' capital. These items we will not allocate on the basis of time and sales ratio. It is purely pre-incorporation period item. It is recorded under pre-incorporation column. Now, some of the after incorporation, that partnership firm become a company. So those expenses related to the company, it will be occurred in a post incorporation period. So what kind of expenses are there? Only post incorporation expenses. For example, directors fees, directors traveling expenses, preliminary expenses, formation expenses, debenture interest, goodwill written off, dividend on shares, income tax, MD's remuneration, RDD, reserve for doubtful debts, discount on issue of debentures and shares, underwriting commission, brokerage on sale of debentures, brokerage on sale of shares, share transfer expenses, salary to directors, and appropriation by companies. So these are the items which are purely post incorporation period item, and it is recorded under post incorporation column. If you aware about this allocation, you can easily solve any kind of problem. It may become for 20 marks. The student should aware about what you have to do. You already prepare the new notebook. In that you should write this basics of allocation and write the which kinds of expenses are allocated on time basis, sales basis, and pre-incorporation basis and post-incorporation basis. Sometimes they may be asked this type of questions. Explain the basis of allocation, write the classification of the allocations. So such type of some questions may become in your exam. Okay, so fine. So you should write on in your notebook, and then after that we will discuss the how to solve the problem in our next lectures. Yes, any doubt? Do you have any doubt regarding this? I uh, I put this particular lecture in our YouTube also. You have to see the lecture and study the everything whatever we studied today, and then after that you have to see regularly, and whatever I explain that you have to write in your notebook. Without writing you cannot understand accounting. You should write in your notebook whatever we have discussed today about time ratio, sales ratio, pre-incorporation period items, and post-incorporation period items. All these things you should write in your notebook. Without writing, you cannot understand accounting. Next lectures, we will start the problem. So you should know about the what you mean by pre-incorporation period, what you mean by post-incorporation period, how we will write, that you should know. So I hope you understood. Do you have any doubt regarding this lecture, regarding any topic related doubt? You can ask the question. Yes, कोणाला डाऊट असेल तर विचारू शकता. आय विल स्टॉप हिअर राईट नाव. तुम्ही मी 5-10 मिनिटानंतर यूट्यूब चॅनल यूट्यूबवरती हा व्हिडिओ अपलोड करेल. तुम्ही त्या सर्व नोट्स वहीमध्ये लिहून काढा. जे जे मी सांगतो ते इम्पॉर्टंट तुम्ही प्रॉपरली लिहून काढा. इट इज अ रेकॉर्डिंग तुम्हाला यूट्यूबवरती मिळेल. ठीक आहे. कोणाला काय डाऊट वगैरे काही नाहीये तर पुढच्या लेक्चरला आपण प्रॉब्लेम स्टार्ट करू. प्रॉब्लेम्स मोठमोठे असतील, 20-20 मार्काचे प्रॉब्लेम असतील. त्यामुळे हे बेसिक तुम्हाला आलं पाहिजे. वहीमध्ये सुद्धा, तुमच्या नोटबुकमध्ये सुद्धा हे असलं पाहिजे. विदाउट नोटबुक, विदाउट नोट्स, यू कॅनॉट अंडरस्टँड द अकाउंटिंग. तर त्यामुळे हे तुम्ही वहीमध्ये लिहून काढा. तर आजचं लेक्चर इथे संपलं. गुड नाईट.